A Jornada Internacional GEMInIS começa amanhã, segunda-feira, dia 20. A gente vai ter uma semana intensa, de programação intensa, pensando na plataformização do entretenimento. Hoje a gente faz um esquenta que vai estar disponível para todo mundo aí durante a semana, durante toda a jornada. A gente vai ouvir hoje, conhecer um pouco mais sobre o Reconnect, que é um festival super interessante, uma pesquisa que é sobre justamente a convergência de mídias e o futuro dos festivais, né, que a gente vai estar vendo também aí, apresentando como um dos trabalhos apresentados aí dentro do grupo da UFSCar. E o Reconnect foi um festival que eu encontrei que justamente acho que faz essa experimentação, esse avanço de novas linguagens, misturando performance com várias técnicas, né? Desde de realidade virtual, alguma coisa de teatro e acho que borrando um pouco as fronteiras aí do que seria o audiovisual, né? Das diversas linguagens e técnicas do audiovisual. E para isso a gente tem a presença hoje do Nima Dehghani, que é geralmente o fundador e o diretor do Reconnect, a quem eu dou as boas-vindas. Welcome, Nima. Really nice having you here with us.
Thank you so much for your invitation and for all the people behind the conference and festival, and thanks for having me. Shall I start?
Yes, we get to know, to know more about Reconnect.
Great. Well, I'm going to start sharing my screen. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So hello again, everyone. Today I'm going to talk a little about Reconnect Online Performance Festival, a project that we started with the beginning of the pandemic, which was well received by artists, scholars, and audiences. And I'm going to give a little description about the festival itself. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of the festival and what was behind it, and my own artistic practice and how it led me to create and fund this festival. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the past two iterations of the festivals, and then what we are seeing in front of us and how we can collaborate with the other artists and other sessions that will be coming up. So what is Reconnect? Reconnect is an annual online performance festival which utilizes digital media to reconnect artists and audiences worldwide through performance, education, and online gatherings. In the pandemic era of social distancing, proximity expands and contracts from pixel to pore, from pore to pixel. Reconnect explores the distance created in quarantine by providing an inclusive and accessible platform for artists to engage new audiences with radical performance art and educational discussions. I hope these subtitles are working. I'm trying to speak a little slowly so the PowerPoint catches the word. We focus on artists from the Middle East, specifically Iran and other nations with low access and visibility in the art world at large. And it doesn't limit to Iran and Middle East. We expanded our focus after the second round of the festival, which I'm going to talk about later. The second iteration of the festival, Reconnect Borderless, it was the theme of the festival, Reconnect Borderless, took place from March 25th to April 12th this year. In this year's festival, events featured the award-winning cast and crew of the VR immersive theater production like Finding Pandora X, as well as startups and companies who are active in tech, in the intersection of tech and art and performance art, like Mozilla Hub, Playtronica, Illuster, Indicate, Discoteron, and many more projects. And I'm going to talk about our mission. So as I said, we founded the project in March 2020 in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Reconnect is dedicated to supporting underserved, socially distant, and geopolitically isolated communities across the globe. In an era of restriction, surveillance, and government censorship, highlighting and boosting artists in these communities, in addition to providing education, is an act of solidarity, which we believe in that. Part symposium, part happening, Reconnect features performances and discussions that focus on how technologies like virtual reality, augmented reality, and artificial intelligence help us reimagine accessibility and community development in digital realities. Festival events not only engage with audience, but invite viewers as active participants. Even in post-pandemic world, the festival will continue to provide open digital spaces for ongoing collaboration and education. In our first year, 2020, the festival established a mutual aid network of artists who work together to support initiatives like our virtual artist residency. It was called Yet to Come. And our art management student internship program through a partnership with the University of Maryland and art organizations in Iran, Argentina, Switzerland, France, and Germany. Reconnect takes the global and makes it local through meaningful and intimate digital collaborations. The next question is who we reconnect. We introduce diverse online audiences to artists and artwork made in nations that are often restricted and isolated from international art spaces, both geographically and politically. With a staff of mostly women and immigrants and a strong audience based in the Middle East and other countries near, the neighbors of Middle Eastern countries, which, as I said, we are expanding our partnership with different institutions in different countries. Reconnect breaks down barriers forged by censorship in an effort to establish and nurture an inclusive online art community. For anyone who is interested in performance art and digital world, we invite you to attend our festival as participants, as collaborator, as partners. We look forward to connecting and reconnecting with you. Just as a reminder, Reconnect is unaffiliated with any political party or institution. We are an independent organization that's completely managed and funded by artists. Most of our staff are volunteers and students. If you would like to support or learn more about us, you can check out our website. In this picture, in this slide, you will see some of our events that happened in the past 2 years, which I'm gonna specifically talk about them in details. So I'm gonna talk a little about the history of Reconnect and the history of online platforms for performance art. So which started with this platform that I founded in 2012 as a university project, which was called Netformance, internet-based performances. So I created this platform with the goal of creating a hub for Iranian artists who are already migrated or trying to find broader audience and to connect with the international or Iranian artists who are all around the world. So I created this website and asked some of my friends who are directors or performance artists to join me to create artworks dedicated for online platforms. As you see, there are like 2 of our sample projects here, the webcam project, which is a project that happened in 2012 or 13. The project was 10 monologues or soliloquies, which was happening in Tehran, in a gallery in Tehran, but the audience were online or in a studio in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So this was my first effort of telepresence online performance art, which I curated 10 10-minute or short plays to be performed in front of a webcam. So we wanted to use webcam, digital platforms, online platform as the main tools and context for this performance art. And the second project was The Body of Woman as a Battlefield, a play by Matej Wisniewski, which again, the play happened in like a physical venue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but the audience and the viewers were online on our website Netformance, and they could interact with the audience. So I have been doing all these efforts, all these experiments with online platforms, and I have always been curious to see how much we can engage theater artists, dancers, performance artists. And there have always been this barrier because most of the classical theater people, they have this guard against digital technology and recently internet, online platforms. So we were not honestly very successful with that project. So it was not a failure, but it was not as successful as we expected. But the good thing, I mean, it's not to say it's a good thing, but after the pandemic, so everyone had to use the internet to connect, to communicate with the other people. And as theater artists, as performance artists, we needed to show our projects. So it was like a trigger for me and my team to go back to that project and reopen that file. And we came up with a new platform and we called it Reconnect, because we really wanted to reconnect with our past experiences as well as reconnect with the other artists who are either unemployed or jobless, or they are bored at home and they wanted to show. They had a lot. I mean, I'm going to talk about the projects that participated in the festival. So there were a lot of shows that they had already rehearsed and they were ready to go on the stage, but they didn't know what to do. So we created this platform with the goal of bringing all the artists who are active in performing art scene and digital art scene as well, to see how we can get together and how we can play around with this digital platform to see if they are capable of doing creating artworks for online. In 2020, we started the first festival. And again, I didn't want to work as a director or designer. This time, I just wanted to sit back and create the platform and see how other artists would contribute to this goal and project. So we changed the idea of online performance platform to an online performance festival. So we just created the infrastructure or the platform for the other artists to join us and experiment and see what we can get out of these new experiences. So in 2020, we released our open call, and we received 149 applications from all around the world, as you see, from 85 countries, 31 cities and 6 continents, which was, I mean, super surprising for us. We really didn't expect that much contribution. And so after selection process, like 2 or 3 times selection process with our curators, who were all international artists from different organizations from Australia, India, Iran, Germany, and Switzerland. So we ended up with 75 events, 50 artworks, performances, or lecture performances, 20 talks, and 5 panel discussions. So in general, in the first round of the festival, we had 285 artists who participated in the festival, either individually or as teams, and more than 30,000 audiences, which is not so big for the internet. If you post a video on YouTube or Instagram, you might get like millions of viewers, but for a theater festival, for a performance festival, it's a good amount. I mean, if we wanted to hold this festival in a physical venue, it would have cost a lot to bring all these artists together and to bring all these audiences together. So that's why we call these kind of festivals very cost efficient, and I'm going to talk about that too. So I'm going to give you just a quick review of the statistics and things that might be very simple, but for our research team was very important and interesting, because for example, in this one, in the as you see, gender-wise, we had like 58 females participated and 44 males. Let's say in percentage of 45%, 34% males, 45% females, and 7% non-binary, and others prefer not to say and the rest. So basically, if we wanted to do such a we are comparing it with like a similar festival that we launched in 2014, which was like a physical festival. So these rates were much different, and we were so excited about finding out how females are participating more in this in these kind of festivals, probably because of the restrictions in the art scenes and all the discriminations that you are aware of. And of course, I get there too about sexual minorities as well. So in terms of continents, so most of our participants were from Asia, then Europe, North America, and South America. The first round of the festival, in terms of the platforms and the mediums, it was super open, so we didn't have any restrictions. We wanted everyone to be free to come up with new ideas. Sorry, the second round. The first round of the festival was only on Instagram, so we restricted all the artists. There was a criteria to create artworks only for Instagram. It could be Instagram Live or Instagram Stories, Reels, posts, creating a page entirely as an art project. But the second round, we let the artists to be free and to be creative and come up with creative ideas using different platforms. So again, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Zoom were the most popular ones because most of the people know them as online communication tools and platforms. But there were a lot of creative artists who came up with new ideas in terms of using the tools and platforms that are not necessarily designed for performance art. For example, Mozilla Hub, which is like a VR platform, or WhatsApp, which is like a text message application. So we had like a couple projects happen on Telegram or WhatsApp or Signal, which are basically designed for just online communication, texting, these kind of things. But there were a lot of creative groups and artists who came up with amazing creative ideas for like performative ideas for these platforms. And as you can see, there is a list of like amazing variety of other platforms that the artists used the second round of the festival. I'm going to show you some screenshots of the projects that we hosted in the second iteration of the festival. We had, as I said, we had some talks and panel discussions. We invited well-known scholars and performance pioneers. For example, as you see, we have Helen Varley here, who is the one who coined the term cyberformance, which is like the mother of internet-based arts. She doesn't like the term mother, I think, but I would say she's the one who coined this term cyberformance. So she gave an amazing talk about the platforms that she designed, like Desktop Theater and the other project, like I think it's called Upstage, which are two websites. And I think she founded these, she launched these websites 10, 20 years ago. I'm not sure if I'm not wrong, but this is one of the first platforms which was dedicated for to performing arts. We had some panel discussions with different artists, like from ranging from VR to dance, and they all discussed the idea of using technologies, specifically during the pandemic, how we can use digital platforms, how we can use virtual reality to bring more audience, I mean, to attract more audience to online performances and digital theaters. We had some like interactive lecture performances. For example, Indicate is like a festival which, if you're interested in role playing, if you're interested in improvisation, so you can follow them. So they gave an amazing lecture performance walkthrough in this virtual world. It's like a game platform, but they turn it into a theater, play, panel discussion at the same time, put slash between all of them. So we had some performances, as I said. which happened on Zoom application. So as you can see here, it was one of our Iranian participants who came up with this idea of having different cameras, one in a car, one in a kitchen, one in a house, and it was interactive. So it was kind of following the audience's demands and requests, and they were delivering some kind of products to the audience, and it was like a back and forth between virtual world and physical world. As I said, we launched this residency with our partners in Argentina, France, and Switzerland. It was called Yet to Come, and through this residency, which we can talk about it more after in the Q&A. So in this virtual residency, we invited 6 artists from these 6 countries, and we invited them to work together collaboratively and come up with an idea, like an art technology project. And we supported them, we funded them, and asked them to create a project for our festival. This is one of the projects that our artist in residence created, and it was like an AI talk show with one robot and one human, which the humans' lines were scripted by humans, but the robot was answering the questions with artificial intelligence technology. So which you can find all of the documentations on our website as well. We had some like creative projects like a virtual graffiti wall, so which the audience could participate and create like a graffiti in collaboration with the other audience, and it had like some political stories behind it. We had some lecture performances again on I think it's on Zoom or Google Hangout. We had this interactive performance, like a very long performance on Instagram by this Greek theater group, which part of it was improvisation with the audience and part of it was pre-rehearsed with their theater group. Again, this is another product of the residency that I talked about, Yet to Come. This is a collaboration between 2 artists in New York, 1 artist in Germany, and she is the artist from the Germany. She was a dancer. The other artists were architects and virtual reality artists. So they collaborated on this project and created an amazing interactive project, which was happening on Styli and Mozilla Hub. This is another project of one of our interns who created this bar backyard for us for our festival, which was the fun part of the festival. So if any of you had joined our festival, after each event, it's like the physical venues. When we go to a show or festival, we get together, we go to a bar or we go to the backyard of the venue, we hang out, we talk about the shows. So we created, our interns actually created this amazing backyard for the festival, which had like several virtual rooms that artists, audience, producers could hang out here after the show. Sometimes there were like serious presentations about the shows, like critiques, reviews, or sometimes it was just hanging out with the artists and just get together, know each other, and like a networking session after the performances. So there are some notes that I have here that why we decided to go online. So we had 3 main reasons to create this online festival. So the first one, obviously, it was the pandemic. So because of social distancing, because of unemployed artists, because of empathy and sympathy that we wanted to create among our artists and audiences, and to show the act of solidarity. So we created this project right after the pandemic because we felt we need to bring hope to our communities. So it was like the simplest reason that we created. And I'm pretty sure there were a lot of projects. I'm sure you remember all these Instagram lives, all these Zoom gatherings. So they were all happening here and there, but we just wanted to make it more official and organized, and created this project as a festival to bring the artists and think about the idea of solidarity in a more intellectual way. The other reason was using digital media. So as we see, digital media is growing super fast. The teenagers and millennials, they are moving towards social media, and they are, I don't say that theaters are empty, but we try to find a way to bring more young generation to our festival, to watch the performances, to get involved with these artistic activities. And of course, digital media helped us to create a festival with like 30,000 audiences with almost zero budget. So I would say it was like the most cost-efficient project that I have launched so far, without any funding, without any grants or donation at the first round of the festival. We didn't have to pay for flight tickets. We didn't have to pay for visa. We didn't have the problem of inviting artists from the Middle East, which is not possible most of the time, and it takes a long time. Not only the Middle East, I mean, South America is the same. Some countries in East Asia are the same. So basically, we provided equal opportunities for artists from all around the world, from all religions, from all sexual orientations. So we just we claim that not only this festival, I mean, festivals that are happening online would be a new and helpful way to create equal opportunities for all the artists and for all the people who want to enjoy art. And of course, in terms of social political reasons of creating this festival, one of the reasons was censorship, because in most of the underserved communities and countries that we work for, so there is this extensive government regulations that you are not allowed to show a lot of things in your performances. But in our festival, we didn't have any we had like some standards like ethical regulations, but nothing in terms of politics or totally, I can say, we supported freedom of speech in all of the stages of the selection and curation. Aside that, limitations in terms of the venues to get together in some of the countries that I named, there are not a lot of venues, theaters, or music halls. So we thought online platforms would give us this opportunity to kind of get over these kind of limitations, these like physical limitations. And creating a global network of artists, which was amazing. We created a network of 2,500 audiences and artists who are actively following our events, who are actively subscribing to our email list and everything. And it was not possible without the help of online platforms. And the next slide, which is dedicated to the Iranian aspect of it. Again, this festival is not based in Iran, but most of the all of the founders were Iranians, but I don't live in Iran. My partner, the other co-founder doesn't live in Iran. But since we were Iranians, our focus was in Iran, and we tried to have like a special look and special focus on the Iranian artists and Iranian artist communities. So as you see in this diagram, I was just trying to show how these keywords that I explained work. And this is just an overview of what we did in the past 2 years. So the first year started with the first round of the festival in March 22. And then we started giving these mini grants to the artists, and it was not any, it was like a creative way of giving grants to students and artists without giving them money. So because, as I said, we had zero budget the first year, but we were trying to get donations from the artists from the well-known or established artists to get donation from them and directly connect the artists or the donors to the applicants of the grants and support them in terms of, I don't know, just registering them for online workshops or creating an account for them for online libraries, these kind of things. So support them kind of financially, but without involving any money or currency, without having any money or currency involved. After that, we had yet to come virtual artist residency with our partners in Argentina, Switzerland, France, and Iran, which, as I said, it was like a very successful project that we decided to bring artists from all around the world, from specifically these 6 countries together, and give them this virtual space and virtual tools, I mean, support them online to create an online project for Reconnect Festival and for Lodo Festival, which happens in Argentina. And also after that, we had this artist exchange program with our French partner, Espace Croise, which we curated 2 shows, which the artists again worked online digitally together, but the result of the project was shown in a physical gallery in France. And then the second round of the festival happened in March 2021. So after the second festival, we started this internship program, which might be interesting for some of you. So we started collaborating with universities and academic institutions, and officially we can give certificates to the art student, art management student, graphic designers, video editors, and curators who want to spend their internship at Reconnect Festival. So Reconnect Festival is now open to all the students who want to start their career as I said, curators, designers, or even some administration positions. And the first round of the internship was with the University of Maryland, but the third round is going to be with 3 or 4 more partners in England, in Netherlands, and in the States, which we are pretty open for the other universities or colleges. If they want to join us, we are super happy to collaborate or partner with you on this. And there is another residency that we are working on. It's called BetterNet Virtual Artist Residency, which we are going to release the open call soon. And these are our current projects, our current issues that we are working on. Our research team, our interns are working on financing, creating a new dedicated platform which can be embedded on our website. We are struggling with ticketing, which is like a big issue in terms of creating online performances, because it has to be different than the regular classic way of selling tickets, because there are lots of contents online. Why should people pay for a performance art? So this is something very challenging that we are still thinking about it, doing research about it, and experimenting different ways of selling tickets or selling performance art online. We're expanding on PR and we are very concerned about sustainability and how we can make this festival sustainable. And as I said, we are super interested in expanding our academic partnerships. I think I talked so much. I'm going to stop here, and Andrea, I hand it to you. If you have any question or any ideas, I am here to answer. I think you're muted. You're muted.
I was congratulating you about your such an exciting group of work that you've been doing for Reconnect. So I was exactly going to ask you, and I saw on your last page talking about the dedicated platform. So because for now, for the first 2 editions, Reconnect well, all the curational work is basically, the website is more like a hub from where you can see different works from in different platforms all over the world. And so what's the idea? What's the plan? So how are you moving in this direction of Reconnect becoming a platform for showing all those works?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, as you mentioned, in the past 2 rounds of the festival, we use all the existing platforms. So, and we try to create to turn our website just to like a hub, so all the artists can come there, but they would be directed to the other platforms. So sometimes we could embed the like the broadcasting platform on our website, but it was not our own website, and it was like a third party platform or tool for the artists. But what we have been doing in the past year was consulting with artists, with architects, with designers, with UX designers, with UI designers, to see how we can translate the idea of actual physical theater to virtual world. Basically, the easiest way would be to create a 3D model of a theater, and you can just walk and you can go to different rooms and see projects, see, I don't know, video installations, listen to music, or sometimes if you have like a VR goggle or VR headset, you can interact, you can do like amazing VR projects, which we had it in the first year. But again, we are not super happy about that, because that's just a tool itself. So our idea is, it's a very, very raw idea yet. It's not finalized yet. I'm just sharing it with you. We are thinking of having an architecture competition next year, which we are going to ask through an open call, ask the architects or architecture student to come up with, you know, ideas that we had no idea about, and to see how we can build a theater for the internet from the scratch, not just bringing all the elements of physical theaters or physical venues to the internet, to create something from the scratch based on the potentials, based on the properties, based on the specifications of online platforms. So that's our idea, and hopefully we can get there, that we can have, I mean, at the same time that we are releasing the open call for the festival for theater artists, for digital media artists, we are thinking of releasing an open call for architects to collaborate with theater artists and come up with new amazing ideas for dedicated platform for performance art.
Cool. And about the residencies, how does it really work? So you invite artists, and what you show at the, what I saw, at least in the last edition, we see like the final work at the end. So do you have any other, I don't know, during the whole process, do you show parts of the process, or from the scratch, and then the final work and all the steps in between, or how does it work?
Yeah, well, the idea was, I mean, since we called it virtual artist residency, we wanted to have it virtual. So of course, all the artists can get connected through Zoom or WhatsApp or whatever. But we had this idea of showing the process, the working process as well. So for example, for Yet to Come Festival, we had like 2 sessions a week that they had to work together, 2 artists from 2 different countries, and it was happening either on Zoom or Reconnect Backyard or other platforms. And it was like an open studio. So the audience, I mean, people who are going to watch it, watch the results later during the festival, they were able to join the live meeting, or the live, let's call it virtual studio, to join them, to see how they work together. And for example, the dancer artist who I just showed the screenshot of their project. So she was in her studio, and it was like on Zoom maybe, I guess. and she was dancing in her studio. The other artists were on their lab, in their lab, on their computers, but everything was online for 2-3 hours, and the audience couldn't come in and out, and like real open studios, which we have it in our school days, in our universities, that there were like days that our studios were open and everyone could just walk in, check out, ask questions, or even it was very good for the artists who could get some feedback from the audience watching the process of their work. So no, it's not only showing the final result, it's like working together, opening up the door of your studios and letting people to come in and give feedback, interact with you. And the other residency that we are working on now, we are partnering with this hostel in Iran, and the idea is having like 24-hour sessions in virtual hostels. So they're gonna spend, you should check out our backyard. I will send you the link. So if you go to our website, you can find it. So in our backyard, we have like rooms which are like a representation of physical spaces that has some meaning. Some of them are our sponsors, some of them are our partners, but the hostel suggested this idea of having like a 24-hour or maybe 48-hour non-stop residency or like working process thing. So two artists can work in the room of the hostel, and the audience can come there, go to different rooms, and trying to recreate the same experience that we could have in real world. We could invite you from Brazil to Iran. We could work with you as an artist in the same space. But yeah, we are trying to recreate this dream.
Mm-hmm. And Nima, we saw this year and last year, we saw many different festivals. I mean, cinema, theater, performance festivals, moving from in presence to online, and Reconnect was born as a online festival. So when the world, if one day we move back to like I wouldn't say real world, but I mean performances in live theaters, what do you have an idea of, like having it hybrid, or Reconnect is going to be online forever? Do you guys think about this in this next moment, how you will operate?
Well, I think we are going to keep it online, because there are several non-online festivals in the world which are very successful, and I know I don't feel the need of making it hybrid yet. I mean, we had some projects that were like partially online, partially like physical, but I think Reconnect, since it has already branded itself as an online festival, it's gonna keep being online. The thing is, yeah, as you said, there were a lot of film festivals or theater festivals that tried, I mean, they existed before the pandemic, and they tried to migrate to online platforms. Some of them were successful, most of them were not. But the thing is, since this is designed for online platforms, we would rather to keep it online. And again, when we say online theater, it doesn't mean to put a camera and just broadcast the theater. We want the artists to create site-specific performances for the internet. So that's why I think this is part of the identity of the festival, to be online and digital.
André,
oi.
Pergunta se ele acha que aqui no Brasil, né, os festivais não estão conseguindo se conectar com o público que eram frequentes nos festivais físicos, né? É preciso reconectar. Ser o que ele falou, ele acha que é suficiente para isso, ou tem outra ideia que seria? O que ele apresentou para nós é um esboço legal, ou tem alguma outra coisa?
Para conectar com o público, diga.
Não, reconectar de novo esse público se perdeu porque mudou e precisaria ser feito algo, né? Que não é mais só assistir filme, as pessoas indo festivais para se encontrar.
Uhum.
É uma ideia que me passa que ele não deixou muito claro o conceito. Ele pensa em obra aberta nesses projetos que eles trabalham, o artista cria no estúdio, ele até deixou claro que a gente pode acompanhar, mas a participação da criação não ficou claro, e nem se o grupo criativo dialoga com os curadores, isso não ficou muito claro para mim. São 2 ou 3 questões, talvez.
Let me see. Okay. So Nima, Professor Massarolo, he's asking about the process I mean, basically the residencies, right? So how is the process? So if it's an open, how it starts? What's the starting point? If they start with an open, completely open for the final results, and I think isso, né? Por aí.
So just to make sure I got the question correctly, so the question is about the process and
in the residencies, how if there's like a starting point that they have to reach a certain point at the end, how does it work? What do we expect when we invite the artists for the residencies? And
okay. Do you want me to share my screen again to see the subtitles? Let me do that.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, that residency, I mean, that specific residency we are talking about, so it was pretty open in terms of the medium and in terms of the final result of the project. So it was like a process based residency. So we wanted to see the process and see how a painter can work with a programmer, or how a dancer can work with an architect. So the process was the main focus, and especially the interesting part was to watch it online without going to that physical venue, of course. But at the same time, so the only criteria was, at the end of this collaboration, we are looking for an online performance, something that we can call it an online performance. It could have been just an online presentation in a format of a lecture performance, or it could have been in a format of a dance piece, for example, or a choreography, or a research. But we want, since they were supposed to be shown in the festival, which is an online performance festival, so we only asked them to create whatever you want, be free as, to use any kind of tools, any medium, any media, and just come up with an idea that we can call it an online performance. So it was the only criteria.
And I think in the beginning, or the first part of the question also from Professor Massarolo was how you connect with the audiences. So I think it's kind of clear how you work with the artists, but with the audiences, how do you work, or how do you publicize, how do you do this connection?
Well, this is one of the things that I said we need to work on, actually, in terms of PR and bringing new audiences. Basically, our investment was on the audience of the artists and the group who we are working with. So, for example, there was a group from Greece, so that group brings their audience. There is a group from Chile, they bring their own audience. So we just counted on these organic audiences who are coming with the artist. But at the same time, our PR interns were advertising on social media, of course, or online magazines, or online, websites which are dedicated to performance art or art and technology. So we got a lot of audience through those advertisement, or some email exchanges with universities, or with theater departments of different universities. So here and there we try to bring audience, but again, I think we can be much better in terms of bringing new audience.
Mais pergunta, pessoal?
É um novo público, né, que eles vão buscando com isso. Não, acho que a gente tem que começar a pensar, visitar um novo lab aqui, pensar numa performance, programadores, uma empresa que trabalhe com a gente, sabe, André?
Sim.
Bom.
Eu tenho só one final question, Nima, if we have no other questions, about on Reconnect website, and you didn't mention on your presentation, there's some other events like route proposals and other events. How do you work with them? They are also like they're like sister festivals. How do you work with them?
Yeah, as I said, we had this strategy that we are open to collaboration. So, for example, Root Festival, as you just mentioned, this is a university in Germany, and it's like an art school, theater school. So they reached out to us a couple of months ago, and they said, "Do you want to collaborate on this project? And do you want to?" So, and it's like a student festival, and we were like, "Sure, that's our goal actually in this festival, to connect with different organizations, schools." And so, yeah, the idea, for example, Root Festival, it was a festival designed by students, by theater students after the pandemic. So we kind of supported that festival. And so there are, you can see on our website, there are other collaborations. For example, there is another project, 8 Sunset or 8 Suns, I'm not sure about the name. So that's another project with Studio 24 or 43, I'm bad with names, in Berlin. So, and the collaboration has started. I was in Berlin, I had some meetings in Berlin, and I met these amazing people in Berlin who are working on some creative online ideas. And so they had this project, and they just wanted us to collaborate in terms of publishing on our website, or bringing new audiences, or in terms of announcement and helping them to have more audiences. But there are some other projects, for example, the residency that we are working on. So this is like, starts as a partnership. So one university or one professor in a university connects with us, and we have like some brainstorming sessions, and we think, okay, how Reconnect can collaborate with this digital lab in Bristol, for example. This is our next partnership, hopefully for the next year. So there is like a VR digital lab in the University of Bristol, and Reconnect is going to join them to create a new idea. It can be in the format of a residency, it can be just a virtual exhibition, or ideally it can be part of the festival. So it really depends on the project, who brings the proposal, but basically we are open to receive proposals from other artists, and at the same time, if there is any interest and there's no proposal, we can just set up a meeting and talk about potential collaborations, which can be like internship programs in terms of working with universities, or it can be just partnership in managing the festival.
André, como a gente faz então para o UFSCar ficar parceira do projeto? O que a gente precisa fazer? O Nima poderia nos ajudar, Nima, né? E se ele tem um tempo para mostrar um projeto desses que possa nos inspirar, que eu sei que deve estar tudo no site, né? Mas se ele pudesse falar e mostrar algum projeto desses de realidade virtual, outro, uma performance que ele escolheu aí para nos mostrar, mas como a gente faz para participar? A gente poderia entrar, né? Entrando o mix junto, a gente fazer uma coisa assim, né?
Totalmente. That was going to be my next question, Nima. So hopefully we hope we're gonna maybe start some collaborations with UFSCar, with a university and Reconnect. And I'm sure we're gonna talk a lot after about it. And Professor is asking if you have some short work that you could share with us.
You mean the projects that were shown in the festival?
Yeah, because at the website you cannot see, you can only see during the festival, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah, unfortunately I don't have any of the works on this computer. I have it on my personal computer, but I don't have it handy. But I can send it to you. If you can put us in touch, I can send some of the documentations of the past projects.
Nice. Nice. Eu acho que a gente pode colocar, né? Disponibilizar depois, né? We can make it available maybe you can send us, and we can maybe show it for during GIG during this week. We can send the links, and people maybe can watch it in the next few days.
Absolutely, absolutely.
André, pergunta para ele como é que ele faz para o festival continuar relevante o ano inteiro. Assim, eu sei que o festival só teve 2 edições, mas como é que eles estão pensando essa relevância do festival durante o ano todo? Se é que estão pensando sobre isso.
Yeah, Nima, so about how to make the festival present and relevant throughout the year. What are the strategies you working to make Reconnect alive all year round?
Well, that's a very, very hard work, actually, because the festival happens once a year, and most of our staff and team members, they are either university professors or students, and they are busy with their work. So it's very hard to get together annually, like once a year, like for a couple months, for a couple weeks. So the thing is, we designed some programs, like, and we call them like between two festivals, like some a series of workshops or series of panel discussions. And these panel discussions specifically are very important because we invite the artists who participated in the past round of the festival, as well as some university professors or scholars who are doing research in performance art. And we review our goals and missions and visions and see, is festival still needed or not, or how we can change it for the next round of the festivals, because we know that we really cannot repeat ourselves for the next round of the festival. Technology is growing super fast, and the audience is learning super fast. So we need to upgrade ourselves like constantly. So we have this series of talks and workshops like every 2-3 months. And sometimes we had like small performances, or through these the collaborations with the other organizations and institutions, we try to keep it alive, and at the same time we try to educate ourselves, because I mean, for example, this Zoom technology is changing like week by week. This is the simplest thing that we can use. And last week I opened, so I don't use Zoom that much. I opened Zoom and I wasn't able to find like one of the features that I wanted to use. So see how complicated it can be in terms of like virtual reality. So that's why we have this like month to month, like not month to month, but like monthly panels or meetings, and just to make sure we are updated about the technology, we are updated about the needs of the audience, we are updated about the tools, platforms, and everything like that, and the other festivals actually. So we should be aware of all of these. I'm not sure if I answered your question.
You did, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
It's very hard
Desculpa, Cláudia.
No, I was just saying that it's very hard to become relevant all year round, because it's a lot of work, as you said. It's just too hard. You know? Exactly. And a lot of money, or a good team together, or both, you know, to make it happen. So it's really hard.
Exactly. And the other thing is, I mean, so we care a lot about what's happening around us. For example, we had this plan of launching this summer school at the end of the summer for students, which was a combination of workshops, talks, and panels. But you know, the things that happened in Afghanistan, we were like, this is not the right time to do like entertaining festivals. So we kind of stopped our project because this was like a decision of our interns who were designing this project for the summer, and they decided not to do the mini festival, or let's say the summer program, because we thought if we are going to use our platform, we should use it in a better way to serve the society. I mean, to help people who are on our platform, or the friends of friends, or people who we really care about all around the world. So it's very hard to keep it updated. It's very hard to be aware of what's happening around us. but that's part of our goal. So we try to raise the awareness, and we try to be aware of what's happening.
Okay. André,
Oi.
Pergunta para ele se estão usando as tecnologias que talvez assim patrocínio, apoio, poderia vir da publicidade, a propaganda, que é a realidade aumentada, a realidade virtual, mas que outras ferramentas eles estão pensando em criatividade? Por exemplo, o holograma já foi usado nesses projetos. O que é que estão vendo para o futuro? Qual a tendência que ele vê nas artes? De que tipo de aplicação? Não precisa dizer para ele, mas acho bastante convencional falar em realidade virtual, realidade aumentada, assim, uma coisa que já está meio batida, né?
So Nima, in terms of new technologies, which languages so we use, if you already had some hologram works or something else besides VR and AR?
Holografias.
So far, I mean, the artists who are more like pioneering technologies, they use virtual reality and augmented reality, and in the last residency, artificial intelligence. And there is another artist who is a programmer, actually. She's in Austria, and she is going to give a workshop about coding and performance art, which I assume she uses Python if you're asking about the coding language. But yeah, so far we only had VR, AR, and AI.
Oh, interessante. A inteligência artificial.
Yeah, there was a couple of very interesting AI works in last edition. Yes. De inteligência artificial também.
Yeah, hopefully, I mean, after we get in touch after this talk, I can share some of the AI works that we have.
Cool. Que é isso, né, pessoal?
É isso.
Beleza. So Nima, thanks a lot. I'm sure we have a lot to talk and exchange after that. Professor opened some possibilities, some ideas. I'm sure we're gonna have a lot to work on in the next days and weeks. E aí eu queria agradecer a todo mundo que está aqui também, terminando fazendo aquele convite. A GIG está só começando, está pré-começando, na verdade. A gente, então, a partir de amanhã até sexta-feira, a gente tem uma programação intensa. Não deixa de acessar aqui a plataforma do GIG e seguir a nossa programação. Obrigado, professor. Obrigado, Cláudio. Obrigado, Dário. Acho que é isso, né?
Obrigado, Nima.
Pleasure.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Nima.
Thank you.
Bye, bye.
Minha cachorrinha gostou dele aqui,